Hello everyone! In a bid to try and get more videos out sooner, I want to try and focus on a more concise format. Now I certainly don't plan on abandoning projects where I talk about mechanical pencil mechs for 10 plus minutes, but I would like to have some projects that take a few days to release, rather than a few weeks. So, to that end, I want to try doing some single card however you make that a plural. And thankfully, we had a set come out not too long ago that has quite a few cards I'm interested in taking a peek at. Puella Magi Madoka Magical Heroes. If this is your first time hearing about it, this set is packed with cards to support themes tied to the protagonists of the Yu-Gi-Oh! Series 1 through 5, and I love sets like this. The Legendary Duelist sets have the opportunity to breathe life into themes played by characters that are beloved by so many fans of the anime, and this set in particular is primed to be one of the best yet. They're big on flavor, but how well do they function? Let's begin the tour of this set with a new flagship card for the Pharaoh himself, the Dark Magicians. Yeah, really creative name there, but in all seriousness, this card is really dope. The artwork is really cool, and sets the tone for the support to come. Not only will you have more cards to enhance your Dark Magician strategy, the cards will also allow you to incorporate his trusty apprentice, Dark Magician Girl, more easily. Its stat line is pretty impressive, boasting 2800 attack, and it's relatively easy to fusion summon. You can use either Dark Magician or Dark Magician Girl, and then any other generic spellcaster. So, not only is this another monster to add to the extensive list that can be summoned with Muddy Mud Dragon, it's also incredibly flexible. It doesn't require you to play Dark Magician Girl in decks that aren't already using her, but it does raise the power ceiling of the card if you do. Let's take a look at its first effect. Once per turn, if a Spell or Trap's effect is activated, you can draw a card. Short and sweet, but incredibly impactful. Cards like Twin Twister and Allure of Darkness that would result in an even trade normally, now plus you a card. It also only cares about effect activation, so continuous spells and traps like Eternal Soul or Dark Magic Circle, as well as the grave effects of Magician's Navigation and Lost Winds, can continue to grab you free cards. On top of all of that, it kind of forgets to say if you activate a spell or trap effect, so even your opponent's effects can give you pluses. Oh, and that's not all. The Magicians have even more tricks up their sleeves. If the card that you drew was a spell or trap card, you can immediately set it. And if it's a quick play or a trap card, you can just immediately play it, even though the rules would normally prevent you from doing that. Like, that's completely nutty! Any spell or trap you can activate on your opponent's turn represents a free draw, and you have the potential to rip something incredible off the top, like a solemn counter trap. Even something not quite as flashy, like Called by the Grave or Infinite Impermanence, can still ruin your opponent's day. And even if you don't draw into one of those spells or traps, if you draw a monster that has a hand trap effect, you're being just as interactive. Basically, if your deck runs a lot of cards that are made to interact with your opponent, the Dark Magicians give you even more ways to do that. Lastly, if the Dark Magicians are destroyed, you get to summon both a Dark Magician and Dark Magician Girl from your hand, deck, or graveyard. It is mandatory to summon both, so if you want the floating effect, you'll have to play her. However, there are a few reasons that I personally won't be running Dark Magician Girl for this effect. First off, we already run 3 Garnets in the form of Dark Magician to unlock the power of the rest of our deck, so adding more of the same seems counterintuitive. Second, floating based on destruction just isn't as relevant as it used to be. Nowadays, any Orcust player can make Dingirsu, or a Control player can activate Compulsory Evacuation Device, and now you're back to square one. Oh wait, actually, that works too. It's a nice bonus effect if you're committed to playing the Dark Magician Girl, but otherwise, I would focus on maximizing the first 2 abilities of the Dark Magicians. So, all in all, a very solid fusion monster with great upside. You have no shortage of fusion material if you're running all the Dark Magician support monsters. It doesn't necessarily need Dark Magician Girl, but you can run it if you want to be as flavorful as possible. And if you're feeling really spicy, you can use Magicalized Fusion. That about wraps it up for today's Plus One. Are there any card interactions that I missed out on? With an effect as broad as, if you use a spell or trap, draw a card, I'm sure there's something that's gone missing. So if you have any that you're particularly proud of, sound off in the comments below. And make sure to subscribe to catch the rest of the overview of Magical Heroes. Thank you all for watching, and I'll see you next time. Bye-bye.